I want to remind folks of what I said a few weeks ago, or maybe a few days ago. America should not be borrowing money from the plutocrats to fulfill our deficit spending. In fact, we should print money for our deficit spending as long as we're doing the deficit spending in a non-inflationary manner. And is that possible? Absolutely. And Stephanie Kelton points out the slack in our economy that determines that. The inflation that we have today is not caused because of shortages. It is caused because of corporate greed. Okay? And that's a statement of fact. Now, what I want you guys to do is listen to when one of our economists, and this is a Democratic economist, was challenged. And one of the reasons I like to play around in the good part of TikTok, the part of TikTok that's educational, is because you have people that concentrate a lot of things that make sense. And this particular user is World News Coverage. Don't know much about the account. I just know about this particular video. And I want you guys to listen to this, and then we will take it on the other side.
The U.S. government can't go bankrupt because we can print our own money.
It obviously begs the question, why exactly are we borrowing in a currency that we print ourselves? I'm waiting for someone to stand up and say, why do we borrow our own currency in the first place?
Like you said, they print the dollar. So why does the government even borrow?
Well, again, some of this stuff gets, some of the language that some of the language and concepts are just confusing. I mean, the government definitely prints money, and it definitely lends that money, which is why the government definitely prints money, and then it lends that money by selling bonds. Is that what they do? They sell bonds. Yeah, they sell bonds, right? Because they sell bonds and people buy the bonds and lend them the money. Yeah. So a lot of times, at least to my ear with MMT, the language and the concepts can be kind of unnecessarily confusing, but there is no question that the government prints money and then it uses that money to, I guess I can't really talk. I don't get it. I don't know what they're talking about. Cause it's like the government clearly prints money. It does it all the time, and it clearly borrows. Otherwise we wouldn't be having this debt and deficit conversation. So I don't think there's anything confusing there.
He doesn't think there's anything confusing there, yet he sounds completely confused as he tries to explain the fallacy. Well, I'm not an economist. I just studied economics. Okay? Not an economist, but I just studied economics. It's amazing. And the reason he could answer the question is because it makes no sense that we are borrowing money from the plutocrats for deficit spending. So let's make it very, very, very simple, because it is simple. When we borrow money from the rich people, we are still spending more money than we take in taxes, right? And we are also further expanding the money supply by paying these guys an interest rate. So we have the money, the excess money that we borrow and spend in the economy, plus we give them more money in interest. So the totality of the money for that year is the extra money that we spent from borrowing from them, plus the extra money that we give to them as interest payments to their loan, which we all pay for. That is no more inflationary than us printing money on our own. And let me explain why in the aggregate. The rich person who has enough money to lend to the government, to take out of circulation, likely would otherwise put that money elsewhere that has nothing to do with spending, right? In other words, if we take that money out, if we take that money from them, that doesn't increase or reduce their spending. Now you may say, well, they may have it invested somewhere else. True, they may have it invested somewhere else that they would have hoped is creating some value. But when it's gone into the coffers of the United States government, the United States government takes it and spends it right away. So the fact that we borrow money for deficit spending, having a sovereign currency, makes absolutely no sense. And the reason why Jared Bernstein couldn't explain it is because while he's attempting to explain it, he comes to the realization of what I just told you. It's amazing. He would have to come to the realization of what I just told you, that it makes no sense. In fact, he creates more money in the totality by using the money of the plutocrats to get our deficit spending under control. To deficit spend. Might as well just print the money. And then you don't have that extra cost of interest. And better, you don't have that every single year having to increase the amount of the interest that you're paying. We are paying several $100 billion in interest payments to rich people every single year. It is so important for us to understand economics. You know, when people try to speak about our credit card, the government's credit card, the government doesn't have any damn credit cards. The government's credit card is infinite. It's infinite. And I'm not kidding you. The dollar is backed by nothing. Even when we claimed the dollar was backed by gold, it was a ridiculous statement. You can't eat gold. Having gold means what? Your money is only and ever valued for countries with sovereign currency. The EU that has the euro, America that has the dollar, Russia that has the come on guys, help me with the Russian currency. You know, the colon in every country that has its own currency. The ruble. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. I remembered it before. I got it from Michael Rudnin. You know, the mind is getting old. Thank you, CSAC and Rudnin. Both of you came out with it about the same time. So it is important for us to understand math. It is important for us to understand economics. It's also important for us to understand the circulation of money. And what our deficits and borrowing money for our deficits is doing is simply yet another avenue for rich people to take our money to the top. Let's go through this as I've always done once again. How many ways for rich people to take your money? When they want to pay a small amount of taxes, they don't want to pay their fair share in taxes, so we give them that money. So we deficit spend and they loan us back the money that we allowed them to keep, right? So they loan us back that money. And then they make money on that money they loan us. So we are starting to give them money, just free money for using the money that they didn't pay, that they should have paid. And then for the monies that they have left invested in the stock market, we create a special tax rate for them that says capital is taxed at a lower rate than income of the persons who work. And then we have the sycophants in our society that decides that, well, somehow these wealthy individuals who, by the way, built their wealth on your work, they built their wealth on your intellect, they built their work on all you have to offer. They just play with numbers. And then we have the nerve, some of us, to sit back and defend what they're doing as if what they're doing is honorable. No, it's not. It's not even close to honorable. It is the theft of all of us. It's the theft from all of us. But while we were indoctrinated for decades into how capitalism works, we just took it at face value. We just took it, brothers and sisters. That's why we have Politics Done Right and a few other programs like this, to try to bring some sanity into our thinking. And luckily, we're getting through to a lot of the Gen Zs who are not buying either the democratic neoliberal mumbo jumbo or the right wing Nazi, all that crazy things that they believe in. The problem is because of the Supreme Court, because of the judiciary. It's making life very much difficult. And what we have to do is convince many of the others that there is a better way and a better way to produce, a better way to get things done.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.